Nobody talks about what it actually feels like to be a Christian, with real urges, real temptations, real struggles, and still expected to just hold it together. We're not made of wood just because we're Christians. Today, I'm going to share a sensitive story that was anonymously sent to me, one most people never say out loud. I need you to stay with me because wherever you are in your own struggle, this is going to help you. He was alone in his room one day and he had just done it again. And like always, he started apologizing to God, telling him he was sorry, that he wouldn't do it again. And he really meant it this time. And then right at the end, almost like an afterthought, he added, "And please God, don't tell my father." Now, let me take you back to where it all started. So one day he was lying on the edge of the sofa at home and he felt something. He didn't know what it was, didn't have a name for it, he just knew it felt good. So he tried it again, and again, and again. Always quietly, always when nobody was around, and that's honestly how it started. But here's the thing, every single time he did it, something followed right behind it. Shame. Every time, without fail, his conscience telling him, "This isn't right, stop." And he would try, he genuinely would, but somehow he kept finding himself back in the same place. Then one day, his father called him, sat him down, and said he wanted to ask him something, and he needed him to be honest. So I looked at him and asked, "Do you ma?" And the boy froze. His mind was going 100 miles an hour. How does he know? Who told him? Was he watching me? He was so scared. But with his voice shaking, he said, "Yes." And his father, he didn't shout, he didn't make him feel terrible. He just talked to him calmly, told him how to fight it, and then prayed with him. And before the conversation ended, the boy asked, "Dad, how did you know?" His father said, "God told me." And honestly, that changed everything for him. Not because his father now knew, but because God knew. God had been watching the whole time. And somehow that truth settled in him in a way that made him want to stop, like really stop. And he did. But you know what the problem is with stopping out of fear? Fear doesn't really heal anything, it just suppresses it. And the moment the environment changes, it comes right back up. So he got into the university, new city, living off campus, new people around him, new pressures. And slowly, without even realizing it at first, he slipped back into it. And this time, it was worse than before. More frequent, the shame was heavier too because he was older now, he knew better, he'd stopped before. So every time he gave in, he would apologize to God, telling him he was sorry and promised it wouldn't happen again. And then quietly add, "Please don't tell my father." Because underneath all of it, underneath the habits, the shame, the cycles of stopping and starting, this was a young man who was terrified of disappointing his dad and desperately wanted to be free. So one day, out of pure desperation, he did what a lot of us would do. He googled it. And you already know what the internet told him. So the shame eased, and something else came alongside. And now it was worse. More layered, harder to untangle. Weeks passed, then months, until one day his conscience got loud again. And this time, he searched the other way around, the effects, the damage, what this was actually doing to him. And what he found scared him enough to pray, "Lord, I'm truly sorry, please help me stop." Now, you think that prayer fixed everything overnight? Well, it didn't. But God said something to him that shifted the whole fight. He reminded him of that passage that says, "Flee from temptation." God said, that word "flee" is not passive. It's not just resist and hope for the best. Fleeing is an action word. It requires you to physically move. So whatever you need to do it. Go visit your neighbor, take a walk, call someone, get out of that room. You move and I will meet you there. And that reframed everything for him because he had been trying to fight this thing while staying in the same condition that produced it. And God was saying, no, move. So instead doing that, intentionally avoiding anything that could put him in that headspace, cutting things off before the temptation even arrived, rather than trying to fight it in the middle of it. And God truly kept his end. So many times, right when he was struggling, a neighbor would knock, a call would come in, something would happen that broke that moment. And slowly, the frequency reduced. Eventually, he stopped. But then, something happened that I think a lot of us can relate to. Time passed, he was free, and freedom made him comfortable. So he decided to watch a movie one day. Nothing explicit, just had a little bit of romance in it. He watched it, nothing happened, it was fine. So he watched another, and another, and another. And slowly, without any big decision, without even noticing really, the boundaries he had built began to come down. One small thing at a time, until the temptation came back. He tried to resist, he really did, but he gave in. And the shame that returned felt different this time, heavier, because he felt like he had done this to himself. God had genuinely brought him out and he had just walked right back in. So he went to God again, a little embarrassed, asking him for help one more time. One day, while he was listening to a sermon, the preacher said something that got his attention. God has given you the power to live sin-free. And he just sat there with that. I have the power to live sin-free. That meant this did not have to be in his life. It could actually be different. So from that day, he started speaking those words every single time the temptation came. I have the power to live sin-free. Out loud to himself, like a reminder of something he already had but kept forgetting. And those words, they carried him. They gave him something shame and fear never could. They gave him strength. So if you're watching this and somewhere in this story you recognized yourself, I just want you to know something. You're not broken. There's no point at which God looks at you and decides you are too far gone. He just wants you to come back, not perfectly, just sincerely repent, ask for help, and then move actively, because fleeing is an action word. He met this young man every single time he moved. He'll meet you too. Now, to the person who sent this story, thank you. Genuinely, what you went through was real and what you fought was hard, and choosing to share it so someone else doesn't have to fight alone. That's what picking up your spoils looks like. If this helped you today, share it with one person, not just a like, one person who you know is fighting something quietly and needs to hear this. And if you have a story of your own, something you've been through that you think could help somebody else, share it at storiezthatheal@gmail.com. Until next time.